Greetings of peace and namaste. Okay, y'all know I've been getting the emails in. A lot of people out there have been asking me what are my views on Black History Month. What should Black people be doing in this Black History Month? And I guess most people keep forgetting or whatever. Like, I can flip or whatever. Like, you guys just really want me to go ahead and get like really, really Moorish or whatever, and just get really, really Moorish on you guys and just be like, look, man, I don't identify with this whole thing about being black or whatever. Because if you start looking at like black people, like what do really what do black people have? Like as a people, I can tell you what Nigerians have. You know what I'm saying? I can tell you what Senegalese have. You know what I'm saying? I can tell you what certain Native American tribes have that are melanated, but what do black people have? I can tell you what the Wachitas have. But what do black people have as anything when it comes to economics? Basically, absolutely nothing. And that's why I'm doing this video, because really those people that identify with this whole black thing and get caught up in that, that's really like a programming. That's what you guys really need to realize. Like that whole concept of calling yourself black and all of that type of stuff and racism in general, that's a program. And even you white people out there that feel that you are superior because you feel that you're white as far as skin color, that's a programming too. That's dealing in superiority. And both of these things are conditionings and programmings that's really hindering humanity from making our ascension into being cosmic beings. I'm going to break that down. So you have on the one end, you have the black person that basically identifies with being black because of civil rights. This is why you identify with it. The reason why you do it is because of a political reason. You identify with being black because in that you get certain rights. You know what I'm saying? Because of things that quote unquote black people went through during a certain period of time. And usually these black people are people like Rosa Parks, that are, chosen or whatever, like W.E.B. Du Bois, different black people that are chosen or whatever that went through different struggles in this country during a certain time. And that's great. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand, like, I know my black history. I have a mother that instilled black history in me since I was a little boy. So I know all about black, quote unquote, black history. But once I started studying politics, and I started to study politics in reference to mental programming, I started to realize how, if you want to call them the elites or the powers that be at that time, used this whole racism thing and this whole black thing as a tool and a weapon to control. You know what I'm saying? So now you have basically a group of people that have become, they're black, but they're really victims. You know what I'm saying? Because they're identifying with being black based upon a certain history. It's a certain history. And most of this history is really, like I said, it's tied into civil rights. It's tied into Martin Luther King. It's tied into black people not really being able to do things with other nationalities of people or whatever, other people in this country or whatever, particularly white people. Like black people had to go to their own restrooms. Basically, black people wanted to integrate. So when you start looking at the concept of black, it goes more into integration, because blacks were stripped. You know what I'm saying? Blacks were stripped of everything, knowledge of self, nationality, everything. So, of course, naturally, black people lost the knowledge of themselves. So this is where you get the invention. This is what I'm breaking down. This is where you get the invention of this black man from, or this black woman. This black man or black woman is a political invention that was created during a certain time in history in this country. And it goes into the whole racism paradigm. And it was actually created by the minds of those people at that time were white supremacists. That's what you got to realize. Like the whole concept of the black thing was created in the minds of people that were white supremacists. You know what I'm saying? So now you have a group of people in this day and time where, you know what I'm saying, they identify with being black based upon really it being a race. You know what I'm saying? They look at that race as being like, I guess that's how they get their status. That's how they get their rights, through this particular, identifying with this particular race. But identifying with a race is not going to get you anywhere, because a race is a political construct. That's what I'm breaking down here. A race is a political construct. So the first thing you need to do is understand why they created this thing. And that's what I want to break down here. When you look at like black, you know what I'm saying? That's a programming. You know what I'm saying? That's a program, that's a software that runs in your mind. And most people, when they say, I'm black, they think about I'm black and I'm proud. They think about James Brown. It's a lot of things that black people usually think about. They think about the struggle when they identifying with being black. You know what I'm saying? And that's cool, but at the same time, that's a programming, because you have to remember your race, beloved, your particular race or your skin color or whatever you want to call it is a programming. It's a programming that's running or whatever. You're based on your genes. You know what I'm saying? Based on your DNA. So what I'm breaking down here is that your race is an illusion. You know what I'm saying? When you get into it, you're talking to a starseed, you're talking to an astrologer, a person that I look past the light. You know what I'm saying? I don't let the light blind me. You know what I'm saying? I realize that your race is an illusion. If you're white, whatever it is, it's an illusion. And what I'm trying to get people to see is that we are moving into a day and time now with this shift and the way that everything is going in this country and all of that, where we're going to have to get over this whole race thing. Because this race thing is a part of a programming that's holding us back. And it's a deep programming that was, like I said, was invented by the elites way back in the day or whatever. And it's something that's holding us back from really seeing that we're all star seeds. Like, we're all basically children of the sun. We're all really one. And I know people are like, oh, but what about we? Like, you have some people out there, they feel like, well, we need to separate. And then you have, like, you go to these different neighborhoods, you had a Chinese part of town and all of that type of stuff. So what about separation? Like, so how do I feel about that? I'm not against people living amongst their people that are like them. Like, say, for instance, if you're in a part of town, like a Mexican part of town, I'm not against Mexicans living around other Mexicans. I'm not against Senegalese living around other Senegalese. That's how it's supposed to be. I realize that you're still going to identify more so with people that are like you, but what I'm saying is that we're shifting now. We're going into the age of Aquarius, and with that, we're going to become more global. We're going to become more global and not as tribal. So we're going to have to begin to learn other people's cultures. We're going to have to begin to learn how to embrace other people's mindsets and other cultural ways of doing things and stuff like that. And people that call themselves, you know what I'm saying, like, they get caught up in this black thing, are really turning this into like a victim. They're really turning this into more of being a victim, and I really believe that they're using it more so to pull and to draw on funds and monies. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to think about civil rights equals money. You know what I'm saying? Because you're talking about civil rights or whatever, so there's certain funds that are given, you know what I'm saying, to 501c3s that are tied into this whole civil rights thing. So you got a group of people out there that are like, they don't want to see this, they want to keep this racism thing up. And some of them are white, some of them are black, as far as skin color or whatever. You have some white people out there that want to keep this racism thing going, and you have some black people out there that want to keep this racism thing going. The white people out there that want to keep it going are those people that, you know what I'm saying, are like, you're still caught up into your white supremacy, your KKK and your white supremacist groups out there, you know what I'm saying, they want to keep this racism thing going, believe it or not. And they will, to a point where, will keep those black groups out there that are still racist, you know what I'm saying, that are still talking that the black man or some particular race is more superior. Those particular white groups out there, they'll fund those groups, those black groups out there, to keep the racism thing going. You see what I'm saying? So, and vice versa, they'll support each other. The black groups will support the white groups. They'll support each other because it's an agenda to basically keep the racism thing going. And when you really look at it, I was researching a lot of Sophia Stewart's information lately, the sister that originated the Matrix. She wrote the book called The Third Eye, and I've really been researching her a lot lately. And she talked about how two black, basically a black couple had a white child. A black couple had a white child. And I'm going to go ahead and leave this link inside of the notes on the video or whatever, so you guys can see it or whatever. But that's right. I mean, people always caught up on this racism thing, but two black people, dark as me. I mean, you can go look at the link. Had a white child. And then there's another news story I found where a white couple came together, had a black child. It was deep. White couple came together, had a black child. So it's really nothing. Like, when you look at this whole racism thing or whatever, I mean, it's really just bogus. It has no basis of, even when you look at DNA, I mean, anything can happen in nature. I mean, we're just seeing all kind of things happen right now. We're saying it's a miracle and things like that, but it's not a miracle. It's just that the fact that we have all of these different races are within our DNA. Chinese, black, white, all of this stuff is within our DNA, and your DNA basically is programmed by the stars. It's programmed by the stars, you know what I'm saying? So your DNA lines up with the stars. Before you were born, and before you came into this vessel, you basically had to choose your body. You know what I'm saying? You have to decide, okay, I'm gonna come in this body, that type of body. You're basically, what I'm breaking down is your race is a program. It's kind of like a computer. You know what I'm saying? Like different computer. I always use the example of computers. You have different programs on a computer, and your race is no different, beloved. Your race is a computer. It's a program that's running on you like a software, and it serves you in many ways because it's a program. But then in some ways, if you get caught up into it to where you don't use other programs, then basically you're in balance, and now it can work against you, because now you're a person to where you can begin to identify with your race and become a victim and start to attract situations to you based upon your race. So say, for instance, you feel like because you're black, you're inferior. So then now you go around attracting things into your life that make you feel that way. You go around, you meet people of different races that make you feel inferior. You say, I don't like people of other races because they look down on us. You know what I'm saying? So we got to come together. We got to do this. They look down on us. That's a program. You know what I'm saying? I understand the mindset or whatever. We've been through a lot, you know what I'm saying, and slavery and all these different things, whatever. But all nations suffer slavery. That's another thing that, see, people need to research real history. Like black people weren't the only people that suffer slavery. You know what I'm saying? All nations suffer slavery, but it's like you have this whole victim thing, this whole victim complex. And it's like we really need to get out of that, because that's nothing but a programming that's really causing you to attract these different situations into your life over and over again based upon that programming. So I opened this video up talking about how I don't really identify with myself as being black. Like I said, I am a Moor, so I identify with a nationality. I don't identify and limit myself to a race. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a program. That's just how I look at it. You know what I'm saying? These are my opinions. You don't have to adopt my opinions or whatever. I'm just putting my opinions out here about Black History Month. That's a programming. Like, so why would I identify with that to the point where that makes me? You know what I'm saying? That's a programming. Say even call yourself a male or a female. That's a programming. You have to know that you're a spirit. You know what I'm saying? And we are starseeds, and we all incarnated into these bodies to have these different experiences. Now, the fact that you are black is going to definitely make you have different experiences than someone who is so-called white. You know what I'm saying? Because it's different. It's a different software running on you. So the fact that you look like that, you're going to have different experiences. What I'm saying is that you can take control of that, skillfully deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Like you could basically take charge and take mastery over who you are as a person, and skillfully assert yourself into this world based upon who you are as a person, knowing that, you know what I'm saying, you have a certain skin tone. So if certain people may look at you a certain kind of way, so you may have to go above and beyond to prove a point. Say, for instance, black males, they have a certain stereotype. So the fact that I'm a black male, I know I have to go above and beyond what other, you know what I'm saying, like what above and beyond what other black males are doing, above and beyond my own expectations either, so that I can prove a point to these people out here that are racist and basically look down on black males and look at us like we're all going to end up in jail. I know I have to, you know what I'm saying, like basically go past that and prove that that's not the case, even though I might not identify with myself as being necessarily black, but other people do. You know what I'm saying? So I do realize that basically what I'm saying is that you're going to attract situations to you based upon the shell that you've chosen. But you got to remember, it's just a vehicle. It's just a body. You know what I'm saying? And you're much more than that. You're spirit. You know what I'm saying? You're in this vessel or whatever. So most of us, like I said, are souls living in a vessel. So you are more of your astrological sign. You're more of your natal chart. That's what I started to find out. You're more of that than you are a particular race. If you start to research who you are from your natal chart versus who you are based upon your race, you'll learn more about yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because your race is a cultural programming. You know what I'm saying? In astrology, when we deal with race and hereditary things and stuff like that, that's in the 4th house. That's a particular aspect of the self. It's in the 4th house, but it's not you. It's not totally you. You know what I'm saying? So most people, a lot of people, they get stuck on who they are as their race. Every time they look in the mirror, they hate themselves. These people have hatred issues. They hate being a male. They hate being a woman. They hate being black. They hate being white. Like, they hate because their hair is this way. They hate because their hair is straight. You know what I'm saying? Like, you hate all these things about yourself because you haven't accepted who you are as far as your physical programming. So that's the first thing you got to do. I mean, you basically just got to, as we were taught, you know what I'm saying, when I was in the Nation of Islam, you got to accept your own and be yourself. You know what I'm saying? So that's what you got to do or whatever. And you can't limit yourself based upon your race. You know what I'm saying? You can't let your race block your life experiences or whatever, because that's what a lot of people are doing or whatever. They're letting this programming that was created by these reptilians block them. Because you got to remember, like, the concept of bodies and race and all of that is based upon, we're all just really clones. created by extraterrestrial beings, which I'm going to go more into in another video. But because I'm going to talk more about extraterrestrials and get into the process of how that happened. But we were created by extraterrestrial beings, so these different bodies are really mere illusions or whatever, to where they took the body and found a way to fuse the soul into the body so that they can animate this body. So this body is an illusion, and really you're having experiences internally. You know what I'm saying? So learn how to look inside, look within to find out what's within you. You know what I'm saying? And that will help you to have better experiences on an external level. But as far as my views on race, and as far as my views on Black History Month and what Black people should do and all of that, like basically what I'm saying here is that I don't really get caught up in separation, segregation, and like when it comes to American history, I don't really get caught up in that mindset, and I have many reasons why I don't. I look at like separation and segregation as one of the things that has held back Americans for so long, because of this one point. You call this a melting pot. You know what I'm saying? Like, you say that this is America, whatever. You say that this is supposed to be a melting pot and everybody's supposed to be able to come here and be free and things like that. But then at the same time, you get over here and then now everybody wants to have like, well, this piece of land is my land and that piece of land is your land, and that piece of land is my land. But then none of these groups are taking into account that none of this land is really most of these nationalities and most of these different ethnic groups and so-called races. This isn't none of you guys' land. You know what I'm saying? Because most people, if you're not the Native Americans or of that stock, and if your blood doesn't trace back and you're not the indigenous, then you don't really have a place here to be arguing over land, period. And that goes for blacks and whites, because there's many blacks or so-called blacks over here that are, you know what I'm saying, not even from over here. These blacks are from, you know what I'm saying, like originated over in the Congo and West Africa and stuff like that. So you may have migrated over here, but I mean, how could you sit up here and just argue over and say, well, this part of the land is our land, and then you have these white groups that's doing the same stuff. You guys came from Europe, and then you come over here and you're saying, well, this is our land and this part is mine. So basically what I'm saying is that I think the concept of what was really being thought about here in America and being dreamt up by the founding fathers was more of something of like unity. You know what I'm saying? To where everybody comes over here and functions up under one culture. That's what's really needed. It needs to be one American culture. The fact that America is a melting pot and the fact that it's separated into so many different groups and stuff like that is what's holding it back. Like when you go look at like when you look at the Chinese, this is a good example. The Chinese are really doing really good right now, but they have pretty much a national agreement on how they look at things in their religion, and they have a doctrine, basically a national doctrine of how to go about doing things. Until America gets that, it's going to be a bunch of just basically ignorant people that use racism to get things. And really Americans are nothing but a group of adolescents, really. Like when in comparison to humanity as a whole, Americans are just a group of adolescents that are over here crying about rights and monies and funds, and they don't want to get out and work and do anything. They just want the government to give them things, and they want jobs to be created, but they don't want to go out and do what they need to do to create these jobs themselves. They want other people to do it for them. So all I'm saying is that all of this is going back to racism, because of the fact that, and the racial programming is what I'm saying, because of the fact that, well, I'm in this body and I'm black, so I shouldn't have to do X, Y, and Z because my ancestors suffered slavery. And then you have the white person, well, I'm white, and my ancestors were slave masters, so why should I have to do X, Y, and Z? You have all of these different dynamics going on in people's minds or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And they might not admit it. People don't admit this stuff that is going on or whatever, but I'm not scared to say it. I'm going to put it out in a video because I'm not scared that these are my opinions or whatever. So if you don't like it, you just turn the channel. But it is what it is, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying that all of that's going to have to, like, you're going to have to override that programming. You're going to have to really override that programming if you want to really experience this ascension that humanity has to make to get into the age of Aquarius. I mean, we're becoming global. We're about to move into a global economy here. So global community. Where I mean, you're going to have to embrace and know the culture of a Chinese person, though you may not agree with all of it. You're going to have to embrace and know the culture of a Hindi person, though you may not agree with it, so that you can do business with this person. You know what I'm saying? So that you can do business, so that we can grow and progress as a global unit. You know what I'm saying? We have the internet now, so things are global. So racism and all of that stuff, really, to me, my views on it from a Starseed perspective, you know, I know people are going to say you're young and wet behind the ears, whatever. You know what I'm saying? From a Starseed perspective, I think it's bogus, and I think the racism is not needed. Even like somebody told me that even the whole concept of Black History Month is changing. This is called Human Rights Month now. It's not even Black History Month anymore. So that's showing you that it's time to grow up, people. It's time to grow up. So that's just my views. I thank you for listening and watching, and until we meet again, I'll leave you in peace.